I was tagged on this man's video. This man is talking about 5 interesting facts about child support that you may not know. If you are my TikTok follower, I will make sure to link his video. If you are my YouTube subscriber, I will make sure you see his whole video with all of these different facts. What I want to bring out first, I want to show you guys screenshots of the women speaking in his comment section. And I want you to observe what these women look like. The dust is global. It comes in all races. Let's look at Sarah. Sarah says, I scrolled past a video where a guy was trying to say what mothers can't spend child support on. Like, who is even getting child support? And the creator said this right here. On top of the fact that child support is an effing reimbursement for money already spent anyway. And Sarah was like, exactly. We know monetary expenses are only the tip of the iceberg. Mothers certainly are compensated for time and energy invested. Look at Sarah's avatar. I'm sorry, look at her picture. This is not an avatar. This is what she really looks like. Aaron says, or enough child support to do anything with. So she's recognizing that most mothers that get child support aren't getting very much money. So, like I said, observe the pictures of the women talking. This woman, Mom Maskey Walker, says, Texas just made a law that if you don't report income, you go to jail. Used to be just a percentage, but now if you get paid under the table, it can get you in trouble if you don't report it. And Jordan wants to know, what law is this? I am in Texas, and he doesn't pay or report his income. So many deadbeats just up and down social media, side to side, all around the globe. I told you the dust is global. We got some avatars that look like some little baby monkeys or something here. Capuchin Charlie says, only reason my 3 children receive child support is because I had to go to court and the judge threatened jail. Now we are garnishing his wages. He owes $7,000. Like I said, the dust is global, up, down, side to side, across species, across races, all that. Anne says mine owes over $30,000. Capuchin says, wow, isn't it amazing how someone can donate some sperm and be like, I'm out of here. You fend for yourself now. Kay says it's been almost 3 years and I'm still fighting for it. The person below says same here. Allie says, question, is anyone an attorney on here that is licensed to practice in Utah? I'm dying for legal advice and help. Mackenzie says, haven't even bothered filing for it. He has 2 other kids he doesn't pay for. Wouldn't expect him to do it for the youngest. This is why we have got to stop messing with men that have kids. Just leave them alone. Just don't mess with them. Peggy says, right, my ex owes $1,000 a month, and this month he paid $250. Not even enough to cover food for 2 growing boys. Nella says, I'm supposed to get $227 a month and have gotten $3,000 in total in 4 years. I have 2 jobs. Peggy responds with, yep, I work and go to school as well as being the full-time custodial parent to my boys and taking them to all their appointments and school and everything. Because of things like this is the reason why legislation had to be passed. I'm about to play the video from the man if you're on my YouTube page so you can understand the history. It's very important to know the history because these men would certainly make these babies and walk away. And they could do that. And they could do whatever they want to with their wives and their children because of coverture laws. Let's talk a little bit about
5 interesting facts about child support that you may not know. Did you know that the history of child support actually dates all the way back to 1776, where child support laws existed in 13 colonies? However, it wasn't until 1880 that the courts created civil law for child support. This allowed mothers and their children to claim money from the fathers without their communities having to pay. The first federal law was passed in 1950 as the number of men abandoning their children soared after World War II. Women and their children basically had to rely on welfare, which wasn't enough to cover their basic needs. Now in 1998, the Deadbeat Parents Punishment Act was enacted to impose penalties, including fines and imprisonment, on parents who willfully refuse to pay their child support. Now, is this enforced properly today? That's another question for another time. And less than 1 in 4 single mothers actually receive child support. Out of nearly 24 million single mothers across the globe, less than a quarter are actually receiving child support.
Getting birth control and getting access to jobs was so important to women because men could literally just impregnate you and walk away. Women didn't have the opportunities to get well paying jobs and go to school, basically because women have always been second class citizens in this country and are still second class citizens, aka slaves in some countries still. Now, what are coverture laws? Coverture laws were a set of legal principles that were prevalent in many Western countries, including the United Kingdom and the United States until the 19th century. Under coverture, when a woman got married, her legal rights and obligations were essentially subsumed by those of her husband. She became property of her husband. She became property of her husband. Okay, this meant that a married woman could not own property, enter into contracts, or take legal action without her husband's consent. Essentially, she lost her independent legal identity and became legally covered or covert by her husband. Coverture laws were based on the concept of the unity of marriage, which held that husband and wife were a single legal entity with the husband as the head. This legal framework restricted married women's economic independence and legal autonomy, and it persisted for many centuries. Over time, social and legal changes, including the women's rights movement, led to gradual erosion and eventual abolition of coverture laws. This allowed married women to gain legal rights and recognition as individuals independent of their husbands. Today, coverture laws are largely seen as outdated and discriminatory, and they have been replaced by legal frameworks that recognize the equal rights and autonomy of both spouses within a marriage. This is one of the main reasons why men don't see us as human. We were their property. That's the reason why they could literally just take one woman out, put that woman out, and leave for a younger version because they don't see us as autonomous human beings. Because for the longest time, the law was on their side. And the children that came through that woman were also his property. And sometimes the property just gets neglected. They just can walk away. And so the child support laws and alimony laws had to be created because women couldn't really make enough money to live, and women didn't have very much say where it came to reproductive rights because because birth control wasn't really available. The feminist movement hadn't happened. So there were a lot of reasons why the child support laws had to be passed. A little bit more history. In the United States, the process of overturning coverture laws was gradual and occurred over a period of time through legislative and judicial action. The legal status of married women evolved significantly over the course of the 19th and 20th centuries, leading to the erosion and eventual abolition of coverture laws. Key milestones: Married Women's Property Acts. Starting in the mid 19th century, many states began passing Married Women's Property Act, to which granted married women the right to own their own property in their own names, control their earnings, and enter into contracts without their husband's consent. So women are starting to become a little bit more human in the United States. Number two, legal precedents. Legal precedents were set through court cases that gradually expanded the rights of married women. For example, court decisions recognized married women's right to engage in business and commerce independently of their husbands, so women could actually start making a little bit of money. The 19th Amendment, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1920, granted women the right to vote, further advancing women's legal and political rights. So we're starting to get a little bit of rights now. Evolving family law. Family law underwent significant reforms in the 20th century, leading to the recognition of marital equality and the elimination of many legal distinctions based on gender within marriage. We're starting to get a little parity. We have had to go through so many laws just to have some parity, just to be human within our own homes, let alone in the wider community and the wider world. Finally, the Equal Rights Amendment. Although the Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA, was not ultimately ratified, the campaign for its passage in the 70s helped to bring attention to issues of gender equality, including within marriage. As a result of these and other developments, coverture laws were effectively overturned, and the legal status of married women was transformed and recognized their equal rights and autonomy within marriage. Today, married women in the United States enjoy legal rights and independence that were previously denied to them under COVID. Also, marital rape had to be legislated. Women had to ask for the right to say no within marriage, because how can you harm your property? You belong to your man. Of course, he could do whatever he wants to with you. There were so many laws. There are so many laws on the books that had to be legislated just for women to get some kind of semblance of some autonomy and independence. But child support laws were there for a reason. It was basically because these men could make babies and walk away. It's not because and keep in mind the leadership, the legislators, the prosecutors, the judges, police mostly have always been men. Men created these laws because they saw where men were failing their families in the community, in the world at large. All right. Hopefully this helps, and hopefully you guys learned something with this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.